Hello everyone. Great to see you again. Um, I haven't been on the camera for a while, and recently I'm trying to put more videos, and I see actually our channel grow a bit. It's over 50 subscriber now. People are asking questions in the channel as well, and this is a great sign. And for me, it's channel started to help a new joiner to understand how the product works. It's great. We have, now over 50 people interested in learning, sharing their ideas, which is brilliant. Um, so today I've been, well, as I said, I need more sunshine. It's a brilliant day in London today, so I come out to this Fulham Palace. It used to be um, a local war hospital during the First and Second World War, and now it becomes kind of hostility. As I'll share the video as I was walking through the garden here. Um, Back to our channel. Yes, I love more comments, more questions, and I will be answering these questions throughout the videos, so we can discuss on the chat channel. So more will be welcomed. Okay, that's all, and thank you for your support. If you think your friends, your colleagues might be benefiting from these knowledge sharing videos, please share it to them, and love to have them on board for this channel as well. More people, more welcomed. Thank you, and I will go to the videos. Hello everyone, great to see you again. Um, so this is actually a video I didn't plan, but we actually have a question on the channel asking about the data model. So I think it's actually a quite good question, and for a lot of people, if you haven't worked on the product for long, it's probably essential to know it since day one, because when you are dealing with any programming request, any design request, you need to know how the data model actually works. But to make sure you understand why it's working that particular way, we will go through a bit of history of the Oracle utility product. Okay, so again, break it down to revisiting the V model. I'm not sure if the person raising the question have seen the video before, because we did look at the very famous V model in one of the videos. So if you can go back to that video if you have missed, or otherwise we'll revisit the V model today. Secondly, we look at the history of the data ownership, because data, as we said, it's static, but also it is very important to understand the data ownership, as the product has evolved from Oracle CCNB to what we call it C2M or CCS today. Um, there is a history of how the ownership has changed, and that is very important to know before we decide how, even look at how the objects are referenced to each other. Number three, plan forwards. Basically, I want to talk about how I plan to um, raise this point onwards in the videos, because it is very important part. Not just talk about the processes, but also talking about the data underneath. Last, I would give you a reference. I think it is a good reference to look at. It might be too technical if you only start to look at the Oracle utility data model, but nevertheless, I think it will be a comprehensive um, resource if you do need to get on to activities like data migration, data model design, etc. Okay, part one, revisit V model. So we had a question this morning, and I just paste here. It's asking about the data model between the components and also understand the high-level components and their relationships. For example, account to person to device. Um, that's a really good question because we always want to understand how the very basic data, uh, for example, the customer data, the device data, service point data, how these objects are related to each other, and this is something in Oracle Utility we call a V model. Um, as I said, if you have missed the video earlier, this is the Framework 2 V model. Check it out, and it has a lot of content there as well. And otherwise, we will just talk through that quickly in the next slide. Okay, so this is a C2M V model diagram. On the left, we are focusing on the customer aspect of data. On the right, we are more looking at geographic, service point, premise type of data. So on the customer side, we have person, account, service agreement. So they represent different entities, which I have again talked through that many times. I'm not going to repeat it here. Um, they have been illustrated in the videos before. Check the old videos, please. On the right hand side, we have premise, service point, which represent location, and the meter point on the field, and where that is capturing the device, mission components, etc. And in between, we have service agreement, service point relationship, link them together. Now, this is the very essential part of the data model. We are looking at this picture. I would say it's a logical representation of how things are linked together. And probably from here you can see how the account, I think you raised a question about account, service point, and device, how they are linked. Here we go. It's pretty straightforward. You can find all these words on a diagram. But if you want to know how physically they are linked together, again, check the other videos because I was talking about how the physical table are represented by the maintenance object and how the maintenance object is linked to each other via the foreigner reference key between the main tables. Okay. Part two, I would like to talk about the history of data ownership. Okay, so this is I just dropped a very simple diagram here, but as a lot of information if you are new to the C2M world. So before C2M, we have two separate products. One's called CCMB, one's called MDM. In order for all the product to work on its own, it actually has the entities to represent different business information. So on CCMB side, we have person, account, service agreement, SASP, service point, premise. This is very similar to the logical presentation you have just seen, okay, in the V model. Because CCMB was originally the main product, so all the V model, the data residency actually follows CCMB data model. However, MDM come onto this platform probably during 2012, 2000, well, actually a little bit earlier than 2012 from another product called Lodestar to the OUAF framework. This is why when you see the MDM product, all the entities are represented by the business object. CCMB doesn't have that even today. So when we look at MDM, we will see it's not only the data physical tables are maintained by the maintenance object, but also there is a metadata business object on top of it. Similarly, we need entities to represent what CCMB has. If the customer doesn't buy CCMB, we still need these products just for MDM. Or even you have CCMB and MDM, you need to get data synchronized between two systems. Now, what I've done is I used the coloring to represent how the data is synchronized between the two systems. Person account is synchronized from CCMB to MDM contact. Okay, so the direction is also very important. Now, second premise service point is synchronized from CCMB to service point in MDM. Again, service agreement and the service agreement as service point link is synchronized from CCMB to MDM, which is the usage subscription. Okay. Now, there is something you probably I haven't put on the diagram, but I think since day one, when MDM is migrated onto the OUAF framework, it is decided that all the device related information, including device installation event, and also the measuring component. What I haven't put here is measurement, initial measurement data. They are all going to be mastered in MDM. So another thing on this slide is all the boxes circled in red is the master data. So you can see pretty much the CCMB is still mastering all the data except the meter data. Okay, so MDM mastered the meter data, which means the synchronization is mainly from CCMB to MDM. Even happening in C2M, synchronization didn't go away. It's kind of just a real time today, but synchronization still happens. And another feature, another thing about the meter is CCNB used to have tables called meter configuration, which is similar to the MDM device configuration. And CCNB was able to store meter reads, although it's just the scalar reads initially. But it's no longer required to synchronize back to CCNB because as a billing software, you're not you're not really required to have all the meter history, but you do need to have the consumption history because when you generate the bill, you need all the, for example, meter data, reading, and also consumption information. But that will be brought back from from MDM to CCNB on the bills. Okay, on the bill determinant usage. So that's why we don't have a synchronization from MDM back to CCNB. So device will just stay in the MDM domain. This is how C2M look like today, and this is how the whole data model actually sit together. So again, the question was from account linked to service point linked to the device. Okay, let's just expand that a little bit. We can have account, but that doesn't link to the service point directly. As you see, it's going through the service agreement. So account is a collection of financial transactions, which means if you have payment, you have bills, if you have adjustments, account collects all the financial transaction underneath that. And all these financial transactions will essentially stay with one of the service agreement. Okay. However, not all the service agreement requires service point. Service point is there because we want measurement. Not all the service is based on measurement. If you look at the energy services, they are based on meter reads. But what if this is insurance service? What if this is a meter installation service? Well, meter installation potentially is linked to a service point. But what about this is just one-off charge, which is not related to service point at all. Okay, so it doesn't mean service agreement will have a service point, but if, as you ask a question, how do we link to a device? Right, so we link the CCNB account to the CCNB service agreement, link to the CCNB service point. Potentially you are looking at the criteria. For example, we need to look at historical service agreement or live service agreement on the SA status code. But this is based on your requirements. And once you have the CCNB service point, now you can link to the MDM service point. And how are they linked? As I said, the synchronization still happens today. So CCNB service point is normally identified by the CCNB SPID, and that will be synchronized to MDM MDM service points will have a reference which is called external ID. Now all these things are again mastered in the master data in the admin. But normally what we have is on the MDM service point, we'll have a external ID referencing back to CCMB. So you will need to join these two tables by, I think it's called service point identifier, T1 service point identifier. And then again, when we have the MDM, you would have installation event, device config to the device. Potentially some more criteria to check the meter is installed, which means installation event is on. All other requirements-based criteria in your case. But this should be quite clear view on how we store this top-level data related to customer, device, service points, etc. But this is not all the data. Okay, as we have the product is massive. I didn't draw out where's the bill, where is the usage calculation, where is the IMD. They will be coming in individual videos, and this is the next thing I want to talk about. So this is plan forward. Right. So you have seen these diagrams in the videos I have introduced. So each of these circle or boxes is literally a representation of the maintenance object, how they are actually linked together. Over here we have pretty much the MDM side representation from service point to device, machine components, etc. What I'm trying to do is, if you look at all the C2M videos, I always have a section at the end talking about the entity relationship. We can think about the product or any product in not just the Oracle utilities, but any of the product in two ways. One is the process and one is the data. A lot of the training even I was trained on many years ago, it's always related to process. But I think data is what is really important underneath it, especially for the C2M OUAF framework. You very often need to do queries, running reports for these application design and development. So my plan going forward is to build this up in individual C2M videos. Once I go through a topic, I'll put the relevant entities into this big diagram. And one thing I was thinking is I haven't seen this data model from Oracle side. So I did a research. And next is my finding. Okay, so as I was mentioning, I tried to find out, do we have a data model? And this looks like it is. This library, you can search it on Google. I mean, this is open to everyone. If you look at the right hand side, you got this utility data model reference. If you go into that, you will see a lot of details, and it's talking about not just the individual tables, not just the individual entities. It is talking about a dimension. Um, it's talking about for customer, which entities are involved, for bill, what entity is involved. It has a lot of details in it. I'm not going to expand that in these videos, but I would like to give you this resource because end of the day, if you really want to get into how the data model works, there's two ways. One way I already mentioned before, database you need to have access, but on the maintenance level, on the um, metadata level, you can look at the maintenance objects, how they are grouped, how maintenance objects are linked to each other by looking at the reference key on the main table. Another way now is this support document online. I think you can check it out yourself if you're interested. Okay, so this is everything I want to talk about today. Thank you very much for your comment in the chat, and hopefully this answers your question, and hopefully this clears other people's mind if you have similar doubts. Thank you. Bye.